I'd like to give a special thanks to my Patreon patron, Mavis Vermillion, for suggesting this video idea. For more information on how your video suggestions can get priority, consider visiting my Patreon. The link is in the description. So what is Hollow Knight? Hollow Knight is an action-adventure Metroidvania released in 2017 for PC and then in 2018 for consoles. The game was developed by Team Cherry. If you're not familiar with what a Metroidvania is, then this section is for you. To briefly define the term, quote, typically based on two-dimensional, side-scrolling platformer gameplay, Metroidvania games feature a large interconnected world map the player can explore, though access to parts of the world is often limited by doors or other obstacles that can only be passed once the player has acquired special items, tools, weapons, abilities, or knowledge within the game. Acquiring such improvements can also aid the player in defeating more difficult enemies, locating shortcuts, secret areas, and often includes retracing one's steps across the map. The term is a portmanteau of the words Metroid and Castlevania, two game series that are known for this type of gameplay. Now, Metroid, as a series, is known for having non-linear level design, even going back to its first game in 1986. 1997's Castlevania Symphony of the Night is considered to be the defining game of the genre. The game's assistant director, Koji Igarashi, is credited with establishing the main conventions and features of the genre with his work not only on Symphony of the Night, but most subsequent Castlevania games. Both of these series are just great examples of non-linear level design, finding upgrades that are necessary to progress, and all that, hence the name. Hollow Knight has a plot that doesn't really reveal all of its secrets at the outset. All you'll probably know going in is that you're a knight with a nail, exploring this ruined kingdom, and that's it. Dare I say, Hollow Knight takes more of a Dark Souls approach to storytelling. If I'm being honest, the story kind of takes a backseat to the gameplay, and I don't really mind that it does. To give you a very brief, spoiler-free plot summary, the land you're traveling through is called Hallownest. It was once a prosperous kingdom, but was brought to ruin by this shit called the Infection. How and why it is spreading are mysteries you'll learn more about as you progress. Hollow Knight also has multiple endings, a total of 5 if you have all the DLCs, each requiring you to do different things to achieve them. I won't show you any of them or tell you how to get them, gotta leave some things a surprise, don't I? The gameplay doesn't really take too many risks, which I appreciate. Hollow Knight follows the Metroidvania formula through and through. Like, when starting the game, you only have a couple hit points, you can only jump one time, you can't do a lot of things, actually. Slowly but surely, as you progress, you get the ability to dash, wall jump, cast spells, double jump, just about everything you'd expect from a Metroidvania, and even more on top of that. You can get a map for each area, but only if you find this cartographer, this old buggo named Cornifer, and buy his incomplete map of said area. You can update the map after traveling through the area and resting on a bench, provided you've bought the quill from the shop. Over the course of the game, you do gain permanent upgrades like spells and new attacks, but you'll also collect charms. Each charm takes up a specific amount of charm notches, and you can equip as many charms as you want, as long as you have the notches to fit them all in. There are fast travel stations throughout the game to make traversal less of a pain in the dick if you need to go from one end of the map to the other. This game is also kinda tough. Like, I legitimately got frustrated at times, like when I lost about 1600 Geo, the in-game currency, in the death pits of a later game area. That was enough to make me stop playing for the day. When you die, you leave this thing behind. It's called a shade. If you can get back to where the shade is and kill it, not only are you going to get all your missing money back, but you'll also be able to hold your full amount of soul. Soul is essentially your mana. It lets you cast spells and heal. Healing, it's a risky proposition in the throes of battle since it takes a good chunk of time to do it. Point being, there's a lot to learn and consider. There's a ton of risk and reward. In the late game, you're not limited to only one style of combat, one style of play. I like to have my usual 2 charm loadouts. The first was based on exploration and survival, and the other was just a slightly edited version of the first loadout, which was focused on making it easier for me to tear a boss a new asshole. Yeah. In terms of difficulty, it mostly comes down to the fundamentals, learning enemy behaviors and how best to counteract them with the tools you have. Anytime I got frustrated, it was because I kept messing up. It wasn't so much, this fight is bullshit, but more along the lines of, fuck me, I can't do anything right. Yet, after I'd finally beat the boss that's been giving me so much shit, you guessed it, it would always be this great sensation of well-earned catharsis. It's just like, fuck, yeah, dude, yeah, beat the thing. After its release, Hollow Knight has gotten 3 major DLC packs and two other major updates. All of them add new stuff. All these content packs, by the way, are free, so good on Team Cherry for that. And all of them add new things like new regular enemies, new bosses, new fast travel stations, a whole new fast travel mechanic in general, gameplay tweaks, visual overhauls, multiple boss rushes, whole new quest lines in the case of Grim Troop and Godmaster, the latter of which adding 2 new endings to the actual game. Jesus, fuck! Oh, there's so much. I think my only gripe with the game, and this is a good problem to have, I suppose, but I would say my only real gripe with the game is that there's just so much to do. My playthrough clocked in at almost 36 hours. I apparently achieved 78% of total game completion. Maybe that's a little faster or slower than the average Hollow Knight player, I don't know, I don't really care. But to give you a bit of perspective, I didn't even touch the content from Grim Troop or Godmaster. I activated Grim Troop, but I didn't do any of its questline yet. There's just so goddamn much to do that if I were to spend even more time diving into it all for this video probably wouldn't be coming out until the end of this month, if I were to account for taking breaks and the time to make the video and such. But, as much as I enjoyed my time spent in Hallownest, it's time to move on and play something else. Perhaps eventually I'll return here in my downtime and continue my adventures off camera, but for now I'm a little burnt out from playing so much of this game in the span of give or take a week. In conclusion, Hollow Knight as a Metroidvania, it's wonderful. It's well worth your time. If you're in the market for a Metroidvania that's not only good, but also meaty, Hollow Knight will just scratch that itch easily. If you're a fan of Metroidvanias and you haven't played Hollow Knight, I think you're missing out. For the time being, I'm giving Hollow Knight a 7 out of 10 at least. That might change later after I get through the content I missed. I don't know. Suppose time will tell on that one.
Wow.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I'd like to give another special thanks to my Patreon patron, Mavis Vermillion, for suggesting this video idea. For more information on how your video suggestions can get priority, consider visiting my Patreon page. The link to that is in the description. Your support is very well appreciated, but is by no means required. Just watching my video helps a lot. Consider hitting the like button if you liked it, or even the dislike button if you didn't like it. But regardless, I'll see you all next time. Oh, and before I forget, where the fuck is Silksong?